My journal entry today is part of my visit with Mandy's urban garden. Mandy grows a lot of things that I have never tried. Be sure to check out the link in the description box to hear how Mandy dries her herbs and other plants for medicinal and cooking uses. While I was visiting Mandy, one of the things I asked her was what herbs maybe I could try here. She told me several that are so easy to grow that if you're not careful, they'll take over the whole garden. So speaking of invasive plants, this is what?
This is mint. Great used in teas. If you catch it before it starts to bloom and then dry the leaves, it actually is a pleasant tasting tea.
Smells good.
However, once it gets established, you will be ripping it out for all eternity. We started with one plant because we thought, hey, this smells good, we'll stick it in our yard. And it has come up in all regions of our yard since then. The problem with it is it actually spreads by the root system. So you'll get this stem running along the ground, and it can run for quite a ways, and then the stems come up through it. So it's really hard to get rid of it after it starts to spread. And not only does it spread by the root, but you also have to worry about once the flowers actually develop seeds, those seeds can be broadcast as well.
So talking about invasive herbs.
Yes.
Yes. Wow. What is that?
Okay, so this is rosemary. It actually is more like a shrub. So if you dig down into it, it is going to be a bunch of branches that actually is spreading out like this. I actually took out quite a bit of it earlier this year because it was completely crowding out my oregano and sage.
So this is kind of your herb area.
Yes.
So,
What we decided was, because they can be quite invasive, we would stick them here in this section. It's kind of blocked off by the sidewalk areas, the house, and the stairway, so it doesn't have very much ability to encroach other garden areas. This one here is sage, and so it's kind of like a
and what's that?
sage.
Sage.
It's kind of the same as a bush. It doesn't spread quite as bad as the others.
I can see down here the wooden stem.
Yep.
That's pretty hefty.
Now this right here is oregano. Oregano spreads quite well. So if you have it just planted in your regular garden, you'll start to find it everywhere in your garden. So that's why it is in this region.
You've moved the plants around and I can smell them.
Yep, that's the scent that you're smelling is actually the rosemary.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's pretty good. I've dried some of it for use in cooking. Here you can actually see the seed pod for flowers, and then this will turn into seeds. I actually, when the rosemary was crowding it out, actually took some of the seed pods, stuck them in a pot inside, and then
I smell the oregano now.
once that grew up, I actually put it into one of the cinder block holes to give me another spot with oregano that I could hopefully keep contained within that little patch.
And I see here you have sage, which
Yep.
is the same as in the front here.
And as we mentioned before, mint coming up everywhere. Here's some mint that decided to join its invasive friends.
kind of appropriate to have it here in the garden.
That's what I thought.
Now here's some purple flowers.
Yep, those are the sage.
What part of the sage do you use?
I use the leaves, although I think you can eat the flowers, like sprinkling them on a dish. I think that they are edible in that way. I know the rosemary are, but of course they taste like rosemary, so you would only put them on something that you wanted that taste.
So these are the rosemary seeds?
No, this is still the oregano.
Oh, the oregano made it all the way to the front here.
Yep, so this is actually from last year. Last
So
year's seed pod.
And it's all dried, and then this is this year's.
Yep, so this year's hasn't actually flowered yet.
And this over here, I see mint.
This is actually lemon
Oh,
balm.
lemon balm. It looks like mint.
So it is from the mint family. It does not have the root system that the mint has. So it doesn't spread by the runners.
Oh, good.
However, the seeds are very viable. So I actually had bought this plant at at an extension class, and I planted it in the front flower bed for a year, and then I moved it back here, and in that span it had sent enough seeds that I am still finding little lemon balm plants in the front yard.
Does it have a smell or a flavor?
Yes, when you crush the leaves, it has a nice lemon scent. It would be nice if it also tasted like lemon, but it doesn't quite. But actually, making a tea out of lemon balm and mint is actually really good.